What's up, YouTube? Bay Area Baller back again. And you see it, I got a couple guests with me ready to talk Niners. 49er minded, a.k.a. Bashar. What's going on, Bashar?
What's up, man? How you guys doing? Doing great.
Excellent. Feeling good. Ray, we got big Ray Martinez. Thanks for coming on. How are you doing, Ray?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on.
Hell yeah. You know, when I was thinking about, man, I want to talk some ball with a couple guys, you two popped into my mind because I love your guys' takes, and I'm glad to have you guys on my show. But let's get right into it. And we got to see a half a Trey Lance against the Seahawks, all right? It was exciting. How would you assess his performance? Were you encouraged by it? Bashar, why don't you start us off?
I was encouraged just for the simple fact that he wasn't thinking that he was going to play that day. From what I heard, that he found out he was going to play when they were walking out of the tunnel back onto the field after the second half was starting. So, you know, he wasn't really prepared for it, as we pretty much saw. And, you know, not like they told him during the week, hey, expect to play. He didn't know that Jimmy was going to have the injury. So, with all things considered, you know, if I was going to put a grade on his performance, I'd probably say a C- or something, or, you know, I mean, he did get the team to score in certain opportunities, which was really nice. And looking forward, I am ready to see what else he can do, without a doubt.
C-, that feels a little rough.
Okay, C. Okay, let's say C. Let's say C.
I mean, no. You don't got to change it up on me, but man, I thought he was all right. Ray, how did you feel about Trey's performance against the Seahawks?
I felt like, you know, when he first came in, he definitely had those rookie jitters. You know, starting off that throw to Kittle, I mean, that's as bad of a start as you can have throwing the ball. So what I like, though, is he doesn't seem to get rattled by things like that. It seems to the point to where Trey is the type of guy who's going to progress as the game goes on. And I felt like in that game, that's what he did. He progressed as the game went on. Now, I know it wasn't perfect. There were a lot of options he did have to throw the ball where he didn't throw the ball. And to me, I just chalk that up to not really being able to read a defense right now, not being in that game mode of everything going on really fast. I mean, the guy didn't play at all last year really in college. So just the fact that he's competitive enough, though, to keep the team in contention is what I have hopes for.
And he looked the part, right? Like when he was sitting in that pocket, the way he was sliding, how about how he broke the pocket? It looked so natural and fluid. I was really encouraged by that. And I thought he looked explosive, right? With his size and his speed, like this was the first game of action where I was like, whoa, this guy is a stellar athlete. You know, he didn't break off like a long run, but just the way he escaped the pocket. And I thought he had a really good feel. You know, we saw that when he spiked that first throw to Kittle. I was like, oh, man. But, you know, he picked it up. He did airmail a couple throws, right? Like couple slants to Debo that were up high. But I was encouraged by it. I liked what I saw. And I'm excited that we're going to get to see, as you guys know, Jimmy Garoppolo ruled out against the Cardinals. So we're going to get a full game of Trey Lance, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah. As far as his running goes, I don't think we've seen him run his hardest or his fastest just yet. I think he's the type of runner where he can kick it into a second gear once he probably gets past 10 yards running, so to speak. He's not the type of runner, in my opinion, that hits top speed right away. One thing I do like about his running style, as opposed to, like, let's say Kaepernick, and we had Kaepernick, because a lot of people make the Kaepernick comparisons, but I just see him with a higher ceiling than Kaepernick, obviously. But he has that ability where he's a bit more shiftier than Kaepernick, in my opinion, where he can make people miss more, and I do love seeing that.
Yeah, I
agree with that. Yeah,
let me piggyback off Bashar. I think that's an excellent point. Because if you did watch that film, there were times where Trey didn't keep it. He gave it to Sermon. And so there were some opportunities where if he had kept that ball, there was one where he handed it off to Sermon. Sermon went up the middle. But the D-ends had all crashed already. And Trey had Kittle coming around on an end block, getting ready to block for him upfield. So you imagine George Kittle getting ready to come block for you, and you're gonna have some room. And it looked like he would have had it. So once again, yeah, I feel like exactly, Bashar. Like, I don't think we've really seen that big Trey run yet. That one where it's just like, man, ooh, that's something special, you know. But I think the opportunities are going to be there, though.
Great point, though, because I definitely remember that where he had daylight and he didn't keep it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so we touched on Trey. Now, I want to talk about the other man in the room, and that's Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, right? Through 4 games, how would you assess Jimmy Garoppolo's performance?
Go ahead,
Bashar,
go ahead?
Take us off. Yeah.
All right. So as far as Jimmy's performance, in my opinion, there's different stages of Jimmy's play as a 49er. Yeah, the 2017 Jimmy G, the one that everybody, including myself, got super excited about. I literally bought his jersey the first time after he beat the Texans. I literally left that sports bar and went out to a shopping mall to buy his jersey that particular day. That's how hyped up I was about 2017 Jimmy G. He was extending plays out of the pocket, making throws. He wasn't necessarily throwing the deep balls all the time, but he didn't even let the pass rush affect him back then.
He was making these tight window throws. I remember he was squeezing balls in there, and it was like, whoa, this guy's a gunslinger.
I specifically remember dudes, like, we didn't have a good offensive line that year either. I specifically remember rushers coming at him, and he would like turn his body like that sometimes or whatever. And for whatever reason it worked. He had this little thing where he'd contort his body and nobody would hit him. And then we get into, obviously 2018, we know what happened there with the ACL. But 2019, he played well in 2019. He put up good numbers, but you can definitely tell that after his ACL injury, that he wasn't what we saw in 2019. He wasn't extending plays, and our roster obviously was stacked that year. I mean, the running game was off the hook, the defense was off the hook, and so some of those things kind of made, if Jimmy G did have any deficiencies that season, they kind of covered things up. But Jimmy had Emmanuel Sanders too that year, and he played good with him. Now, let's go to 2020. 2020, I'm sorry if I'm taking long, but the 2020 Jimmy.
You're good, yeah.
The 2020 Jimmy is when I started losing hope in Jimmy, and that was more so like right before we hit the midseason point when Steve Young started saying that he didn't think Jimmy G was going to be a part of the 49ers plans in the future. And that Jimmy was a Jimmy that I didn't like seeing, and that was last year. And mainly because I just saw him, even if the offensive line was blocking from give him 2.5 seconds or 2 seconds, he was holding on to the ball for a little bit or throwing the ball late. And I'm still seeing some of that this year. So I see some of the 2020 Jimmy G carrying over to 2021, and it's not impressing me. And it's further solidifying the reason why we traded those picks to draft the quarterback.
Ray, what do you think about Jimmy G through 4 weeks?
Through the first 4 weeks, I think Jimmy's been extremely inconsistent. So much so the last 3 games, you could say it's been the same thing pretty much, where
7 points in the first half, the last 3 weeks, Ray.
Yeah, and I get it. It's not all on Jimmy. I get it, but there were opportunities that throws are there to be made, and he's just not seeing it as well. I think he was playing just good enough to where he wasn't really causing them to lose like in that first against Philly. He wasn't like the reason why they were going to lose that game. I felt like he was doing just enough. But when Jimmy starts having those turnovers and the ones where the most maddening ones where the linebacker or the safety is right there in the middle of the field and he literally throws it directly at him, those are the ones that I think upset the fans the most, because it's like, Jim, at this point in your career, you should know.
When are you going to learn from this shit, Jimmy?
Exactly, right?
I love it.
So I feel like with Jim, he kind of opened up the door for Trey, not only with the injury, but his play as well. Because if Jimmy was balling right now, nobody would be saying, hey, we don't have any faith in him. Or not. Like, if Jimmy was out there doing what he needed to get done.
If we're 4-0, winning games, and he's getting it done, you're not going to hear a peep out of us.
Yeah, and I feel like people like to talk about.
We got to wait for his connection. I hope we
might have lost Ray. We might have lost Ray for a second. Let me take it over, because I got to give you my take on Jimmy G.
Maybe I should message him on Twitter or something.
Yeah, we'll go to. I bet you Ray's gonna be right back. Ray's gonna be right back. But let me let me tell you what's going on with Jimmy G. It's like the perfect culmination of who he is. All right. This season, we've seen some good Jimmy. He's made some good throws, right? He hit Debo. Some people say that pass is underthrown. He's carving up teams over the middle.
The Dwelly throw was nice.
Against the Dwelly throw was phenomenal. Absolutely. And then we get that other side of Jimmy that always crops up, right? So through these first 4 games, it's like the perfect culmination of just who Jimmy Garoppolo is. And not only that, he got hurt, right? And that's what he does continuously.
That's like the cherry on top of the sundae, right? I mean, I hate to make a joke about an injury. I really do, especially about one of our players. But it's when you say culmination, it's just like everything that certain people predicted may happen with Jimmy. It's like we're seeing it unfold. There he is.
There we go. We got Ray back. Hey, Ray, what I was saying is through these first 4 games, it's been the perfect culmination of who Jimmy Garoppolo is, right? He's been decent, and then you got these boneheaded plays that always crop up year in and year out, right? How about this fumble where he spiked the ball against the Packers? Like, what are you thinking, Jimmy? What? And then, like Ray alluded to, the interception against the Seahawks, he throws it right to the linebacker. Like, how many times have we seen Jimmy G not see defenders that are in the passing lane intercept his ball? So these first 4 games, Jimmy Garoppolo has showed us exactly who he is. This is who Jimmy is, and now he's injured.
Yeah, and I felt like, earlier Bashar touched on something, though, when he talked about what Jimmy used to be able to do. Jimmy had a fadeaway. It was where he was able to throw the ball and fade away without getting hit at the same time. In 2017, he was doing that heavy, where he was just fading away and slinging the ball from different arm angles. So it showed he had arm talent. The problem is when you start getting injured consistently, you're going to lose a little bit of that mental toughness when you realize you can be wiped out of that game with one hit. So for me, I think Jimmy is tough because he's playing a professional sport where you're going to get hurt. And he just, unfortunately, when it comes to injuries, he's not going to be able to sustain seasons every year. And it's just in his history right now that he gets hurt a lot. It's unfortunate, but for some players, we've seen it at different positions where guys just can't stay healthy.
I know. And unfortunately, yeah, you look at Jason Verrett, that's a parallel on the defensive side of the ball. And real quick, you guys think we bring back Raheem Mostert or Raheem Mostert or Jason Verrett next year? Or are you kind of like, these guys are who they are? What do you think about that?
I'm a little iffy if they do or not. I have no idea what our brain trust has in mind, John Lynch and Shanahan, because especially with Verrett, I mean, Mostert too. They both get injured like crazy. It's nuts, and with Mostert, it's like it's even worse in my opinion. Even though Verrett's really important for the defense, but with Mostert, you had this explosive, dynamic guy who just tore it up in the NFC Championship game, and our eyes got so big, and we had these huge high hopes for him, and it's terrible. But good thing we drafted Elijah Mitchell. Sermon is a different style runner, obviously, but he's a running back. We drafted him. Verrett, yeah, he's a little. They're both up there in age. Actually, they're both over 30. So yeah, it's gonna be iffy. We'll see.
Ray, what do you think? Jason Verrett, Raheem Mostert, you trying to re-sign either one of those guys next year?
For me, right now, I think they're both what they would say is on the wrong side of 30 coming up. And if they're not willing to take a team-friendly deal, then I can't see the 49ers extending them. I think those are 2 players who they let walk. I think it showed in the way they drafted that they're ready to let players like that walk, which shows the investments why they thought they made were right. I know it's unfortunate that Ambry hasn't been able to play. That's pretty frustrating when you draft a guy with a 3rd-round pick. You would think he would be able to not start right away, but at least contribute. And the fact that we've had to keep bringing DBs off the street in the past, it's kind of a concerning sign. But I guess we have to hold out hope that they can do something with them. But yeah, man, I don't see us bringing those guys back next year.
Okay. I'm going to say Verrett, I'm going to have to pass because the ACL You know, it happened week 1, but these things seem like they take over a year. So he wouldn't be ready at the start of the year. So I'm going to pass on Verrett. But Raheem Mostert, if he wants to come back at a team-friendly deal, it's got to be cheap, right? You know, a couple mil. And I would still – I love Raheem Mostert. I think he's electric. It's not an ACL. It's a meniscus, I believe. Is it a meniscus? But so that seems like a little bit less of an injury that we would have to worry about. So Raheem, if he comes back on a team-friendly deal, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and if you're asking me, it's like that's what – for me, I would bring Raheem back, but I don't think the 49ers organization is going to bring him back.
Okay. I got you. Let's move to the offense, all right? Through 4 weeks, I want you guys to give this offense a letter grade. How has this offense performed? Ray, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, I would give it a C. I think it's been average because they've had games where they were able to put up points. You know, they average around 26.5 points or so. So they're not god-awful. We've seen god-awful offense before. It's more frustrating that they don't have any consistency. So I don't know if it's more on Kyle Shanahan or is it more on Jimmy Garoppolo? Because on one hand, we can say maybe it's some of the play calls, but I've seen a lot of film where there are throws that are there, but Jimmy's not going to ever attempt a lot of those throws. So I don't really know if it's all on Kyle. I don't know if it's on Jimmy because, like I said, that we've seen, I guess, flaws in both of them so far, in Kyle and Jimmy. So it seems like they needed a breakup anyways, in my opinion.
Bashar?
Yeah. I don't want to be a copycat, but I'll say a C. And it's disappointing because, I had high hopes for Ayuk. And I really see people talk about CeeDee Lamb and these other young rookie receivers. I honestly think Ayuk might be just as talented or right behind them in terms of talent. What's up with me, the dream? I see his comment right there. Yeah, and as far as the offense goes, I mean, some of the bad plays, some of the reasons why we've struggled in certain situations, like oh, there he goes, Jiggling Herd, my favorite player. Hey, what's his name? Raymond Martinez mentioned something that. Why did I have brain fart? I was going to say something that piggyback off of something. He said that we scored 26.5 points a game, right? The points on paper, it's not bad, right? But in certain situations, where he said we lack the consistency in certain situations, it has been really bad. And I wrote down some notes that I saw in the last game, certain things that will just give you an eye opener about our offense. For example, like multiple times on third downs, especially when Jimmy was in there, you wouldn't see Ayuk even on the field. We ran one formation with 5 receivers. No Ayuk, no on that play there was no Ayuk and no Debo. Just little things like this, man. And then of course Jimmy on 3rd and 10, instead of throwing to Ayuk, who's wide open on the flat, he's throwing it to Juice and he gets stopped, and it's on 3rd and 10. Like, and then nobody's getting open on man coverage, and then Ayuk's not even on the field. Like, part of it goes to Shanahan, in my opinion. I don't know if I don't want to say this doghouse thing with Ayuk, but when you got a player like that of that caliber, you got to have him out there. We got to score points to win games. I think he needs to get, to quote Pinor, he needs to get his head out of his ass. And seriously, if he's going to get his feelings about whatever things may be going on, he shouldn't be. Apparently, it seems like that might be the case. There's no reason why a guy of Ayuk's caliber shouldn't be on the field. And that's contributing to part of Jimmy's bad play and our just bad offense in general when the offense does look bad. And of course, there's no consistency in the run game either. We're a run first offense, and we're not getting our run game going. So
that's it. Yeah, the run game. I mean, that's the staple of Kyle Shanahan's offense. This run game needs a kick in the butt. But not only that, it's like Debo's the only weapon that's going off right now. We got one legit weapon that's killing it. George Kittle, Ayuk, Trent Sherfield. I mean, Debo's the only one that's killing it. So you guys both gave the offense a C through 4 weeks, and I gave it a C plus. So we're all right there in the same vicinity. But let's kick it off to this next one, and we're going from offense to defense. What's impressed you about this defense, and who's been balling out? Ray, why don't you start this one off?
Yeah, I would say on the defense, to me, who I'm glad to see has progressed, and that next step you want to see is Emmanuel Mosley. I thought Emmanuel Mosley played a really physical game against DK Metcalf. That's asking a lot, considering DK on paper, you look at their size, you would think this guy has no way to compete with this guy, right? But Mosley's always had that dog in him, I felt like, where Mosley mentally can get over mistakes. Mosley mentally can go to a next play and have a really good play, even after a bad play. So I feel like for me, it's E-Man on the defense, to me, who I'm happy to see, because we're going to need him. So
it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
Yeah.
Something
That's
like
probably
that.
your lifelong motto, isn't it?
Bashar, what are you thinking about this D?
The defense. Okay, so week 1 we saw Dre Greenlaw get a pick 6. I was hyped, like, yes, Dre Greenlaw, my dog, man. He looks like he's gonna be balling out and be on a, maybe on the borderline of having a Pro Bowl type season. And lo and behold, he freaking gets injured, like all our players do. But who steps in? Aziz, baby, please, Aziz Al-Shaair. That guy, man, he stepped right in and he's looking the part, man. He's piled up 10 tackles the other day, and when he hits people, they go down. So really pleased to see what he can do in these next few games.
I'm glad you brought up Aziz Al-Shaair because I wanted to also mention just how well he's filled in. And man, that guy plays with an attitude. Like I see him, he's out there, he's talking trash, he's hitting dudes, jumping on the pile. I like Aziz Al-Shaair. But when I'm talking about this defense, fellas, against the Seahawks first 5 possessions, 3 and out. The first 5 possessions. Like that, how often does that happen to Russell Wilson? Not very often. I mean, this defense absolutely brought it against the Seahawks. And other than that debacle against the Green Bay Packers at the end of the game, right, where, I mean, I think we totally botched the last 30 seconds of that game.
And the bad coverages, yeah.
Yeah, bad. It was just soft coverage. It didn't feel like anyone knew where they were supposed to be. Not everyone, but like Jimmy Ward on that second completion to Davante Adams is like looking around confused. So other than that series of plays at the end of the Packers game, I think this defense has looked really good. The pass rush as Nick Bosa's back, baby. Bosa's bringing it. D Ford's contributing in a limited capacity. But, man, I want to see the interior kick it up a notch because, coming in training camp, I'm like, oh, our interior's so deep, right? DJ Jones, Javon Kinlaw, Contavious Street. These guys, they're not bringing it like I anticipated. I want the interior to kick it up a notch. We know the cornerback room is our weak spot, but if we can be strong everywhere else, safety, linebacker, defensive line, I think we could still have a top 10, potentially top 5 defense. I think DeMeco Ryans is doing a hell of a job. Real quick, how do you think DeMeco's doing in his first tenure as defensive coordinator, Ray?
For me, I feel like I don't know if it's DeMeco's play calling or the players aren't executing at times as well, though, because they have had some lapses. I would say, to me, I guess I expected more turnovers. I think we have 1 takeaway. So
1 or 2, yeah.
I think it's 1. I think that's all we have. So I think that's the one area. It was very similar to Robert Saleh, though, in his first year. Remember, we couldn't get any turnovers. So I don't know if it's just something where the players aren't executing. You would think the players by now know this defense in and out, or is it just maybe some positions that some guys are being put in? Maybe there needs to be a little more rotation of who gets to be a robber on a play here or there.
Bashar, what are you thinking about DeMeco?
The only time DeMeco really angered me was that Packer game because, that whole, like you said, debacle at the end of the game and how we weren't doubling Davante Adams like most teams do. But,
I mean, 12 catches going into the game. Yeah. We're saying we can't let Davante Adams beat us, and he did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
At the same time, though, I will say it's Aaron Rodgers too, man. It's Davante Adams too. It's like Even if it
Future
didn't
Hall of
happen that
Famers.
way, it's really hard to contain those type of players, man. They're elite level players, and sometimes they're gonna get theirs too.
And I also want to add about the D tackles, how you mentioned it. It's disappointed me. I'm sorry. I was so hyped up for the D line in general, especially the D tackles. Where is Zach Kerr? Has he even been on the field? Where has he been? Has he hurt?
He had a bad week 1. He had a bad week 1, and I think his snap count dipped.
I was so hyped up about him watching him in the preseason. He was a dog at times in the preseason, and he's nowhere to be seen. Hurst came back, and he looked good. He looked good against Seattle.
Yeah,
so
I
was
loss,
like, cool. I was like, with all these D tackles, and we thought we had the best D tackle depth in the league, and you know how they say iron sharpens iron. You figured somebody's going to step up, and nobody was stepping up for a period of time. And one of those, two or three of those guys got to step up, man. I'm sorry, it's a huge disappointment for me, and it's good to see that Hurst is back, though, like I mentioned before. But hopefully
it's got to be Javon Kinlaw. Bashar, when you're saying someone needs to step up, it's got to be Javon Kinlaw. This guy was a top 15 pick. When you draft a defensive lineman in the top 15, specifically defensive tackle, right? This dude needs to get to the passer. He needs to be a monster. And so far, that hasn't been Javon Kinlaw. I mean,
and it was
you don't
disappointing
draft
to see him chasing down Russell Wilson. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not Javon Kinlaw's game, and it looks so bad. It just looks so bad.
But
it hurt.
That play was classic, where it was like, Armstead, why would you swim inside? You're playing Russell Wilson. Why would you not contain the edge? And those are those plays where it's like, Armstead, you're not only getting played to be, I guess, an interior rusher. To me, that's fine, and I think he does a good job at that. But you're also getting paid at a level where you got to be more intelligent on those decisions as well. Those are the ones where it's like, Armstead, stop shooting yourself in the foot on those. If you're not going to sack them, contain the edge at least, on some of those plays.
I don't think Bosa was in on that play either, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's always like that. But that's the thing I wanted to mention earlier. I want to going back to that game when you said the defense looked excellent in the beginning, all those 3 and outs, and how we were stopping them. And then it's like, and you mentioned Russell Wilson, right, the Hall of Fame quarterback. But eventually, if we don't capitalize on that, what's going to happen? Russell Wilson's going to wake up and give you those wow plays, and put some points on the board here and there. And if we're not capitalizing on their mistakes, then we're going to lose, like we always do to Seattle. I hate to say it, but.
Right, you're talking about containing how Armstead didn't contain Russell Wilson. Well, guess what? We got Kyler Murray coming up. All right, and that's going to lead us to the next topic, which is what are the keys to beating the Cardinals? These guys are undefeated. The offense, Kyler Murray's the front runner for MVP. They got all these weapons everywhere, and we're rolling with Trey Lance, right? What are the keys for the Niners to win this game? Ray, why don't you kick us off?
Go ahead, Bashar.
Oh, man, you got to hit me with the hard ones, man. Hit me with the tough questions. Well, Kyler Murray, as I was mentioning Russell Wilson, who's been giving me headaches for God knows how many years. Kyler, it's like we have to play Russell Wilson 4 times a year, basically, is what we do in this day and age, because Kyler Murray is basically Russell Wilson, but, a younger, faster version, obviously, and it drives me crazy. How are we going to stop him? Good question, man. I don't know. We definitely have to get the run game going, though. Like I mentioned the run game earlier. The run game's our bread and butter. Get the run game going. The biggest thing, as much as the defense may not have, we haven't forced the big turnovers or gotten the huge plays on defense this year. Well, we did get a pick 6 once, but with Greenlaw. But I still think the biggest issue on this team is scoring points consistently, in all 4 quarters, and getting the run game going is a huge part of that. Trey Lance being on the field widens those run lanes, and maybe we see him keep it a few times. Like you were saying earlier, Ray, that he had daylight and he didn't keep it. Well, maybe he does keep it. And hey, you know what? We got to start. And I've mentioned this on my show and other people's shows if I've been on there, and it's totally pisses me off how we play all these teams, how they They sit there and drop back and just throw the ball in the air without even looking where they're throwing, and like, oh yeah, we're gonna get a PI anyways, and they'll just throw the deepest pass there is, and we get hit with like 10 PI calls every game. But we're not doing that to the other team. Off. Why don't we do that to the other team? So we got a guy with
Jimmy G doesn't throw deep.
Yeah, we got a guy with a rocket of an arm now though, who is starting. So I say let's air that sucker out. I mean, who is it? Eric Crocker says air that hoe out. Get frickin' Ayuk on the field. Get Debo. Debo's been a beast all year, so I can't hate on him. Get Sherfield out there, Kittle. Let's open the damn playbook up, and part of that's Kyle. I don't want to rag on people, but I mean we got
rag on him, Bashar. Let him know.
Yeah, we gotta let him know. So yeah, open the damn playbook. This is how if we're gonna step into Arizona and try to beat them, we gotta be there at the best of our abilities. You gotta open up that playbook and just go all out. We can't pussyfoot if we're gonna be out there and try to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it. I mean, Arizona, they're number 1 in points scored right now. They average 35 points a game. So when I see that, it lets me know. And also, I think they have a top 10 defense. They're top 10 in passing. They're top 10 in rushing. I think in takeaways that they're like 3rd overall in takeaways as well.
I mean, what did Chandler Jones have? He had like 5 sacks week 1.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Chandler Jones is a monster.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is, though, is the only way to me I see us beating the Cardinals is we have to put together a complete game on all 3 phases. We can't turn the ball over. The run game really does have to carry the team, I think. I know we want to see Trey throw a lot, but similar to college, I think they're going to call similar games where it is going to be able to try to get Trey in open space. I think they're going to look for a lot of those opportunities where he is going to probably keep some of those more in this game maybe. Now, I think the play action starts to work a lot better as soon as Trey is in the game. I think for me, though, one of the things I noticed on film was, and I think a lot of young players have the same problem, is a lot of the time they look for the big play and sometimes take the check down. There were a lot of times where Kittle was open, Juice was open, wide receivers were open within the first 5 to 6, 7 yards, and Trey's not looking that direction right now. So those are the ones where it's like easy money, and he can make the throw. He's just got to take it because it's not like they're all slants. They're not all slants. They're not all timing. Trey's pretty well versed in these things, and I think it was a lot of nerves, I feel like, in that game, a lot of nerves, and I can't blame them. So I think if they can run the ball and they have to keep the ball away from Kyler Murray and them, and the defense can do well, not against their pass. I hear a lot of people talk about the pass, but they have it, like I said, I think they're number 6 in total rushing. So if you can limit them and make them one-dimensional, then I think we do have an opportunity to pull an upset. And don't discount 49ers are going to their other house.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a good 49 fans presence there. Really quick, I want to mention also, is it Elijah Mitchell going to be playing this time around too?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard Mitchell's back. Yeah, we're going to need that because Sermon's looked good, but you need more than one guy. So Eli Mitchell, and they're different styles of runners too. So I think that's a benefit. I feel like Mitchell is more of can hit the outside zone, one cut, get it upfield, and Sermon's more of like when Trey's back there, you got that read option right up the gut. I'm going to run you over. So we got that thunder and lightning mix that we're going to have this week.
But don't get it twisted. Elijah Mitchell can lay the wood too if need be. He doesn't go down easy.
Yeah. But you bring up a good point. Eric, because when you think about it, when you have those 2 different styles of running backs, and sometimes defense like to key in on a particular running back, I think when you have Elijah Mitchell in, they're going to have to defend the edges, right? But I think that opens up opportunities for maybe Trey to keep a keeper right up the gut, or maybe Trey to do a bootleg off of the opposite side of the edge where the defense is crashing and he's got open field and he's got options to either run or pass. I feel like what we're going to see in this game is a lot of Shanahan's RG3 here, where the young man has the opportunity where if he wants to keep it and run, he can, but he's going to let him throw downfield. I feel like there's going to be a lot more downfield opportunities with Trey in the game.
You know what, Ray, real quick, before I forget, against the Seahawks, I thought Shanahan didn't trust Trey Lance. It was like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Every time it was a run.
I think you're right. I think there was a little I think it's because of how Trey was doing, where, like I said, if you look at some of the film earlier on some of his throws or his opportunities to throw, he wasn't really looking at just the open man on the field. He was kind of looking for a particular receiver or a particular side of the field. And what I saw later was in the end of the fourth quarter, people like to say, oh, the defense was sitting down. The defense in the fourth quarter was still in their base. They were just dropping more into zone. And a lot of those times they had a lot of like 3rd and long, 4th and long. And there was one where people were criticizing Trey for not hitting George Kittle, but it was a 4th and 10 and Kittle's at like the 3-yard line. Yeah, he usually makes those plays, but that's the one where Trey ran for it and got his 10 yards anyways. But I feel like that's the thing with Trey is I see the potential to be a problem, for Arizona, where if I was Arizona, I'd much rather play Jimmy Garoppolo. If I'm any defense, I'd much rather play Jimmy Garoppolo. I just feel Trey is going to cause a lot of strain on defensive ends and linebackers. If you look at the defensive ends and linebackers in the Seattle game, and I know it's limited, but it did slow them down. It really slowed them down from just coming in and filling the hole, filling the gap. They were hesitant because they didn't know if Trey keeps it, I got to run to the edge. I can't just come directly up. So I think that's going to definitely cause a problem for Arizona's defense.
It should at least slow down the pass rush a little bit, right? Because Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, they can't just crash in. They're going to have to contain Trey Lance, right? They can't just have – if they try to rush inside, that's going to open up an alley for Trey to clear the pocket and make a play downfield. But my recipe for the Niners to potentially win this game, all right? First, it's easier said than done, but I like to keep Kyler Murray in the pocket, okay? And the best way of doing that, if we can get a good push by the D tackles, right? Get a good push because you want to push the offensive lineman into the lap of Kyler Murray, right? We know he's short, and let me tell you, it comes into play. When he has bodies in close proximity to him, he's not the same player. If he's playing in space and he's getting clean out of the pocket where he's got all this space to work with, he can see the field, he's phenomenal. But what I would do is contain the defensive ends. I don't want the defensive ends rushing too far upfield, creating these alleys for Murray to escape. Contain the ends and get a good push from the defensive tackles. That way Murray's got some guys in his face. I think that might be the recipe to try to slow down this Cardinals offense. But not only that, offensively, Bashar, you were speaking to it earlier. We got to take some shots, open up the playbook. We're going to need some chunk plays. We got to put points on the board. Okay. So whether it's like 2nd and 2, I feel like that's a great time to take a shot down the field. 3rd and 1, take a shot. All right. Especially if you're past the 50 and you're probably going to go for it when you're between that 50 and like 35-yard range where it's kind of no man's land and you're going to go 3rd and 1, take a shot because we're going to need some chunk plays because the Cardinals are going to score. That offense is phenomenal.
And
yeah.
Oh, Ray, what's it called? Ray Martinez mentioned it earlier that there's going to be a lot of 49er fans there. So it is going to be Trey Lance's quote-unquote first start, but he's not going to be going into a hostile environment where, it's like the Seahawks where people jump off sides and you're going to feel nervous and jittery. So, half the fans are probably going to be Niner fans. So
I was joking too, because remember we had to play there last year as the home game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So not only do we have hella fans there, but it's also they got really familiar with playing there.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think hopefully we see a more calm Trey. Everybody's under the assumption that we're not going to see Trey as jittery as he was at this past game, and that will be good. We should see good things. I mean, there are some people out there that I think it was Eric Davis out there. I don't know why he tweeted this. I was talking about this on my show, Monday, but Eric Davis tweet. I don't know if you guys saw, but he tweeted like, "Oh, be careful what you wish for in terms of all the guys who wanted to see Trey Lance on the field." And I'm a huge Eric Davis guy. I loved it when he was on 95.7 the game. I loved it when he was our color commentary guy on the radio for the games for the 49ers radio flagship radio network. But when he said that, I was like, did he really just say that? Like, it's almost like he's trying to jinx like Lance, like, oh yeah, well he's gonna do bad. So ha ha ha, you guys want Lance? Like, and I think we all need to rally behind Trey Lance. You know, put your fandom aside for which guy you like more than the other. You know, he's out there. As far he's going to be out there be our quarterback on Sunday. And we all need to rally behind him, and we all need to want him to do well. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, no, I seen that by Eric Davis, but I felt like I like Eric Davis a lot, and I feel like that was more of one of those situations where it's like you want to be the first to say that out there because in the first couple snaps it looked rough for Trey. So maybe you want to be the first one to be like, be careful what you wish for, but it's like, dog, I mean, let the game play out. Let's see how he goes before you send that out,
Yeah. And you know what?
Hey, let's hit on. Go ahead, Bashar. Go ahead, Bashar.
Are you talking about the comment on the screen?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's what I wanted to hit
I was
on.
under the assumption that Kittle was playing, and I forgot he's hurt.
That's right.
No, yeah, he's been ruled doubtful, which, as we know, doubtful usually means you're not playing. So that's disappointing. Man, it's going to make Trey's job a little bit more difficult. But hey, let's touch on Dwelly. He had the touchdown last week. We know how phenomenal his hands are. Thoughts on Dwelly playing more in this one? Ray, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, Dwelly's an excellent red zone threat. Just a big body, got some excellent mitts on him. Somebody who you want, if you're going to go one-on-one, I'll take my chances with Dwelly one-on-one in the end zone, He's also no slouch in blocking. We've seen him fill in for Juszczyk before. We've seen him fill in for Kittle before. So he's a seasoned vet now. And I feel like this is Dwelly time. Let Dwelly get some shine in this game,
Bashar, you got any thoughts on Dwelly?
Was it the 2019 preseason where Dwelly was balling out? I remember there was one preseason where Dwelly just woke up and he was just balling out of control. And I think it was the 2019 preseason. That preseason, I was calling him Dwelly. I was like, hey, it's Dwelly. It's not Dwelly. It's Dwelly. Because he was making these nice big plays. And it's funny because we all know how much Grant Cohn talks about the guy. And he's always talking about how great his hands are and how much he needs to be on the field. But it's like for the longest time, we haven't seen anything from Dwelly. Minus his past touchdown this last week. So it's like a lot of us just think, oh, he's just your ho-hum backup tight end because we don't see him getting any big plays. But now this is his time to shine. We are going to miss Kittle really bad when it comes to blocking and his big plays and his run after the catch and all that. And this is Dwelly's time to step up and say, hey, hey, look at me. I'm good. I can be just as good as Kittle. Maybe you don't know who I am, but watch me now.
I mean, where has Kittle been for real though this year? Kittle hasn't been Kittle this year.
At times he has, but it's just not the Kittle where he's getting crazy numbers like before. I know what you mean. Yeah,
I feel like the offensive line is part of the reason why Kittle hasn't been able to be Kittle. I mean, they've been pulling Kittle in the block so much, so dependent on Kittle's blocking that Kittle doesn't mind it. Kittle's going to do whatever he feels is best for the team to win the game. But I feel like sometimes, like, we got to realize we're always going to be that run-first team, heavy blocking, and Kittle understands his role. And I feel like numbers are something that I don't really worry about with Kittle because I feel like he impacts the game in multiple different ways. This is not a game where I would like for Kittle to be available in this type of game, because this is a really good team, and you need your best players at all time. I think the one thing with Dwelly is, although he has great hands, is don't expect a lot of yak, because that's the difference. Yeah. So
that's not his game.
He might get open. He might get you some good contested catches, but that might be why we don't see Dwelly as much as he's not always going to separate. So that's why I think red zone threat, though, I think Trey can move around with other pieces around him. I seen they promoted, I think, Jordan Matthews earlier this week. Jackhammer, shout out to Jackhammer. He tweeted it early in the morning that Jordan Matthews was being promoted, and he was like wondering why, because we have a lot of tight ends. And I tweeted back to him that maybe because, Kittle Kittle's not going to
That's
be
a
able
good
to play.
call. That's a good call. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what about this last game against the Seahawks? Lance's pass to George Kittle, right at the end of the fourth quarter, right down the middle. What you guys think about that? I've seen a lot of different opinions. Some say, "Oh, Lance put put the ball in a place where he was going to get laid out." Others have said Kittle should have held on to that ball. Where did you guys fall in that pass from Lance to Kittle last game?
Okay, so I thought I was okay with the way he threw it. When I saw it live, I was okay with it. When I saw the replay over and over again, I was okay with it. People were saying hospital ball. I'm under the assumption they're thinking that pass would have gotten Kittle killed or something. I didn't see it that way, and we have seen our share of passes where Kittle has caught or missed because they were bad throws over these past couple of years. I'm not going to say any names, but I didn't think it was I didn't think it when I was watching. I didn't think it was one of those. I thought Kittle made the nice throw. Trey made the nice throw to Kittle, and it was just one of those things where it was Jamal Adams that knocked it loose or something. And Jamal Adams, even though I think he's highly overrated for how many picks Seattle gave up to get him, I mean, he's a rough and tough player, and if he's anywhere near the coverage, it will be kind of hard to catch the ball if he's right there to make the play. So, but there are other receivers in the league that may have caught the ball, is what people are saying. So,
yeah, I heard today I was on a Twitter space, and I didn't know Murphy's going to be out for Arizona. That's a big loss for them at DB because Murphy's been balling out lately for them.
Yeah,
so
he was a high draft pick out of Washington.
Yeah. So that's something really nice to look forward to because, if we are able to establish the run, I mean, just imagine the play action with maybe Ayuk getting involved a little more in this game too. Maybe we see a little more Sherfield. We might see a little more three wide receiver sets for the fact that Kittle's not playing.
Let's hit the comments because the comments have been flowing. Rob, shout out to Rob, friend of the show. Kyler needs to turn the ball over 2 to 3 times in order for the Niners to win this game. That'd be clutch. Nice. We only got one turnover through 4 games, right? So,
they say, when they come in bunches, though.
I like that.
When I was watching that Seahawks game, the fourth quarter, how many times was I yelling at the TV, punch the ball loose or get an interception or something? I was so thirsty for a turnover.
Well, the turnover happened on our end, right? Trenton Cannon. Yeah. What the hell was that? Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Keep Kyler Murray in the pocket. How big of a pocket do you have, baller? My pockets are deep. Don't pocket check me. Don't pocket check me, Waruna.
Nah, Waruna's got. All jokes aside, Kyler is playing at a really high level right now. The Arizona Cardinals, they got a lot of talent right now. So, realistically, Eric, what do you think about this matchup? What do you think is do you think the coaching can have a significant impact on this game?
Absolutely. We need to utilize Trey Lance to his full capacity. All right. I want to run him. I want to run him often. Now, the only thing, fellas, that has always kind of concerned me just a little bit about Trey Lance, the guy never slides.
I knew you
I watched every snap of this guy at North Dakota State. Never slid one time, okay? And I want to utilize his legs. He's a phenomenal runner. He's shifty. I thought his burst was exceptional. But it's like, man, dude, if we run him 10 times, you can't take 8 hits on these 10 runs. So I want to use him to the full capacity, but I also want him to protect himself, all right? Because I don't want to see no CJ Beathard. I'll tell you that right now.
And really quick, Ray Martinez mentioned Sherfield. It reminded me that, hey, this is Sherfield's coming home party, right? Or he's going to be coming back to Arizona. Hopefully Kyle has something drawn up for him, like those big plays we saw in the preseason. So that'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I feel like, if in this game, like you were saying, Eric, I do want to see the run game dominate. I really want to see the run game dominate.
Has to.
I feel like, we have to be able to use Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, Trey Lance. I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunities, I feel like, for those bootlegs and play action plays because I feel like they are going to stack the box. Because if you don't stack the box, if you don't have 8 or 9, if you don't have a 5-man front against our our offensive line, you're going to struggle. So I don't expect them to not do that. I expect them to bring that 5-man front, the one that's been very popular lately when playing us, especially with Vance Joseph. I think Vance, correct me if I'm wrong, Vance came from Vic Fangio disciple, right?
It sounds about right.
I think Vance Joseph did. And I feel like, he's got that 3-4 as well. So maybe we'll see in this game those fronts, but I just feel like, man, I'd rather have Trey back there right now with the other option of keeping it, throwing deep. I feel like we have a lot of options going into this game.
Hell yeah. Well, let's get to our last topic, okay? And let's see. What is the last topic here? Yes. We're back to the quarterback position. Yeah. QB, yeah. How do you see this QB position playing out? All right. We know we got Trey this week. And actually, I'm gonna lead this one off. I'm hoping Trey comes out and balls out and just grabs this quarterback position by the cojones. All right. I want him to take over, because if he can perform in this game against the Cardinals, there ain't no going back to Jimmy. All right. This is like a similar situation to how Cap took over the starting position from Alex Smith. All right. But Ray, why don't you start us off? How do you see this quarterback position playing out the rest of the season?
Well, I feel like this game, because it's very convenient that it's going into the bye week, it allows them options. If Trey plays competitive, keeps the game close, win or lose, then I think Trey's going to take the starting role the rest of the season. If Trey comes out and wets the bed and just looks like he can't make a single throw, he can't run, he's doing turnovers, then I think we'll see a statement like, hey, Jimmy's healthy, Jimmy's going to start after this week, and Trey's going back to QB2. I feel like they think they have those options because they have Jimmy, and maybe that calf strain's not as bad as it really is. Maybe he could have gutted it out if this was like playoff or not scenario. But I feel like Trey's got an opportunity to seize right here. Like, the moment is here for him to seize an opportunity where it's like, Trey, you don't necessarily have to win, but you got to compete and you got to make it a game.
For some reason, I want to sing the Eminem song. You got to lose yourself in the moment. Do not miss your chance to blow. This is your chance, Trey. Yeah. Grab it right here. Take this QB1 job, all right? Mom's spaghetti. Let's get it. Bashar, what are you thinking?
That's a good one. I could just totally picture them making a highlight reel with Trey Lance walking out the tunnel in the pregame and having that song. That song from 8 Mile. Oh, my gosh. That's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, I like that. I like hearing you drop them bars, though, Barry Baller. That was
hey,
that was
no,
good.
You know what? No one can drop bars like you did on your intro. Shout out to 49er Minded YouTube channel, man. I love dope. It goes hard. How many times have I told you that, Bashar? I'm like, Bashar's intro goes hard.
Thanks, man. I was in my mind. I had my earbuds in. I was just like, what do I say next? I was just, for 2 hours, I was just sitting at my computer, recording myself saying whatever, and boom.
Red and gold.
That's what you guys heard. All right. So about Trey, let's stay on course here, gentlemen. Trey had. I was at that I was at the Kaepernick game when they first threw him in a real game against the Rams, and we saw a lot of what we saw in Lance in that in the Seahawks game from what we saw against Cap in the Rams game when was it Alex Smith tried to do a QB sneak and he had a concussion or something, and they threw Kaepernick in there. And then I was at the Bears game when Cap had his first official start. And hopefully Trey Lance takes a page out of Kaepernick's book and just balls out and shows out. Because if he does, man, like you guys said, when he has a really good shot at taking his job, part of me thinks that even if he does well and if he plays well, and even if we win, and if Jimmy's just like, okay, I'm healthy and ready to go, coach, on Monday, Kyle's going to be like, okay, well, Jimmy, you're the starter.
No way. If Trey balls out, he cannot turn it over. If we win this game and Trey, let's say he throws for like 280, 2 TDs, and rushes for another like 70 and 1 TD. Mm-hmm. There ain't no way in hell that you can turn the keys back over to Jimmy G.
If I'm Kyle, I'm saying that, but I'm just saying who knows what Kyle's going to do.
You're right.
And part
but
of
there's going to be public outrage.
Oh, there
Niners
will be.
players are going to be going
backlash.
insane. Yes.
But part of me thinks this may happen. They may say, "Okay, Jimmy, you're the starter," and then maybe if Jimmy just plays bad that following week, they throw Trey in, and Trey does well. It's over for Jimmy. Or maybe 2 weeks later, they throw Trey back in and it's over for Jimmy. Who knows? But I want the best for Trey. That's all I got to say, man, and the best for our team. So,
hell yeah. Hey, I didn't prep you guys on this question. I didn't put it in the itinerary. But we got to get a score prediction. We're gonna wrap it up on this one. This will be the last one. Score prediction. I'm putting you on the spot. Ray, 49ers, Cardinals. How do you see this game playing out?
All right, so the fan in me, let me preface this by saying the fan in me sees a win. All right. And I think the only way we win this game is, like I said, I think it's ultimately going to be on our offense and keeping the ball away from Murray. So my final prediction score for this game is going to be 31-27, 49ers. Now, the not fan in me is going to say 34-27 Cardinals.
I like that. The hedge. Smart man, Ray. Bashar, how do you see this game playing out?
Yeah, my score prediction was already in my mind before Ray said it, but I'm just gonna throw out my positive vibes, and even though we're playing this really, really tough team and things haven't been going well for us, I just think the ball's gonna bounce a certain way for us this week. It hasn't been bouncing the right way for us, all season long. It's a short season, it's only 4 games, but the calls go our way in some facets, and Trey steps out there and does what he does and either runs in for a few TDs or throws a few TDs, and we win 30-27. Let's do this, baby.
I like that. Okay. I'm going to go 27-20 Cardinals. I think this offense is going to be tough to corral. They're playing well, and I'm hoping Trey Lance, has this phenomenal game, but I'm expecting a couple of Joey Sly field goals, and I have this. Hey, at least we got a kicker this week. Right, last week we didn't even have a kicker. Like as soon as the news broke, as soon as we got that news, like the game was about to start, right? And then it's like Robbie Gould is out for the game, or he's got a hamstring, whatever it was. When they broke the news on TV, I just dropped my head and I'm like, are you kidding me? We got to play this game without a kicker. I mean, that's just bad news right off the bat.
When we were going to go for 2, when we were going to go for 2, and then Laken Tomlinson got that penalty, I still was thinking, go for your 2. Just go for the 2, man. Like
you tried a 41-yard field goal with Mitch Wishnowsky.
Dude, that's crazy.
I don't get Mitch Wishnowsky because he's punted well this year, and I like that. But how is it that we drafted a freaking 6'2", 225-pound, I think that's his weight, athletic punter who runs a 4.6 40? For crying out loud, we don't run him on one fake since we freaking had him. It's like, what are we doing here, man?
You're right, Bashar. The creativity is lacking. Like I'm like, every once in a while, can we ever do a fake punt or something? Like we don't have nothing in our bag on special teams.
In Green Bay versus Green Bay on that 4th and 1 on the 50-yard line. Why didn't we run a fake there? Boom.
Because Kyle gets creative on offense, right? I mean, they tried the double pass, right? The handoff to Pat, or the toss to Patrick, the throwback to Jimmy.
Trick play, man.
Kittle was wide open, though. If the timing was off, let me tell you, the timing was off.
Because the ball took forever to get to Jimmy.
Yeah. Patrick threw a loopy pass, but Kittle was wide open.
It gave Jamal Adams time to recover. I went back and saw the all-22 on that.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's like, Kyle, you put Jaquez Patrick in that situation.
Exactly. He's barely been with the team.
You got him trying to execute one of those plays, man.
I know. So we can get, what I was leading to is we get creative on offense, right? We remember the Emmanuel Sanders. How did the juice play go? Was it the juice pass? Who threw that pass? You guys know what I'm talking about. It was either Juice or Emmanuel Sanders.
Are you talking about the Saints game? That was Emmanuel Sanders.
Emmanuel Sanders to Mostert.
That's right. Sanders threw it as he was getting hit to Mostert.
Yeah.
But it was – did Juice get the ball on that play? to just get the ball real quick and then toss it. Forget how that play works. But we get super creative on offense, and it's like, where is this in special teams? We need to figure out how to create an extra first down or two. And you're right. Hopefully it happens. But
you bring up a great point, though, Eric, because I feel like in this game, we're going to need those type of Saints plays where it's like some trickery in there. We're going to need stuff like that.
Yes, yes. We're going to need some chunk plays, and we got to get creative with it. But, hey, fellas, we're about to hit that hour mark. I'm very appreciative of you two coming on my show. You guys absolutely killed it. I want to give you a chance to plug whatever you got to do. Ray, I know you're on Twitter, and I want to get those Twitter followers up for Big Ray. So, Ray, plug whatever you got to say. If there's one last thing you want to say to the Niner fan base or plug, now's your time.
Yeah, for me, I was real late to a lot of like social media presence, being out everywhere. And it was like I discovered all this recently during the off season during COVID, man. So it was like there's this great community out there, the 49ers community. You got different sides with different opinions on Twitter. My Twitter is at Raymart8722. You can see me there. I'm starting to get a lot more active in the community as well. So you'll see more things coming out from me, more tweets, more information. But this was dope to be able to come on a show for my first time. I participated on certain phone calls where you call in and stuff, but nothing like this. And I just, thank you for the opportunity. And, for me in the future, I definitely look into getting something of my own. I just want to have a really good solid plan on how I want to do it, because you guys make it look easy. You guys make it look really easy, but I know it takes work. And, me, I got a full-time job, 4 kids. I'm married. I got a lot of responsibilities as well. So it's like –
that's a family man. Raise a family man.
Yeah, so when I make this time – when I make this time to do this, it's like I consider all those things. So for me, definitely in the future, I will have something. But appreciate you for having me on, Eric.
Hell yeah, Ray. Yeah, and then that's when Cone Phone is when I first picked up on you, and I said, man, Ray knows what he's talking about. I got to get this guy on my channel, and we've talked back and forth here and there in the chats, and I'm a fan of your opinion. You always bring it, so thanks for coming on. Yeah, Bashar, 49er minded. What you got, big dog?
He had a TV show about him. Everybody Loves Raymond, if you guys remember that. But
I watched that.
Yeah. So 49er Minded is my YouTube channel. I've had a lot of fellow YouTubers on there. I've had Eric Barrier Baller 18 on there as a panel member. I'm trying to get him on there as a single guest, because what I do is I say welcome to 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans, because we do talk our football, but I like to talk about other stuff about their 49er fan experience, how they became Niner fans, all the stuff. And sometimes we talk about music, we talk about food, we talk about whatever, comedy, you name it. So it's 49er Minded. I had Jamie Winboard on there one time, former 49er linebacker. I had a lot of great YouTubers on there. I want to get you guys on my channel, to get you, Ray, and you as single guests on my show in the future. And it's a lot of fun. And my Twitter is 49er Minded, and my Instagram is 49er Minded as well. And I do have a Facebook group. So that's 49er Minded, baby. Let's go.
Hey, all right, fellas. Thanks for coming by. I'm pumped up. Let's go beat these Cardinals, all right? I got the Giants game on in the background, which I'm trying not to have distract me, but we're up 2-0. Let's go Giants. Let's go Niners. All right, fellas. I'm going to catch you guys next time.
All right, bro. Peace.